Good morning. This is Vaughan in Nova Scotia at Westcote Bell Pottery. It's actually October 2nd and I'm going to do a video this morning on how to how to join two previously thrown pieces for a bird bath. I was making some and I couldn't get the height that I needed. In fact, I'll turn this around so you can see. So I'm going to join two together. So here you go, there's a set of them I was throwing, and they're probably about 14 inches, 15 inches high. Maybe one of them could be a bit taller than that, but I think they're about 15. And then over here, I was throwing the platters, great big bowls basically, for the bird bath itself. Some of those are actually fruit bowls, but the flatter ones are actually the ones that are going to go on the bird baths. But I just wasn't happy about the height. So let's put this back and see if I get the good angle again. Oh, that looks good. So basically, I just couldn't get the tall enough. So the answer then is you throw two pieces and you actually join them together. So this is the bottom, and then this one here is the top. And I threw them last night, and I wrapped up the edges that are going to be joined together on the top with that bit of plastic, and then I left open the area that I wanted to stiffen, so that when I put the one on top of the other, it doesn't just collapse out the other one. That would be very embarrassing. So basically, I'm going to join these two together. All right. This one was about 12 to, well, I would say 12 pounds, maybe 14 pounds, and then that one was 2. And if I'd thrown them together, one big lump, 25 pounds, I'd have got some height there, but the weight of the clay on the top would have just kept pushing down on the clay underneath, and so it would keep sinking down. And so I kind of feel like you can get more height if you do it this way. Now, this was pugged recycled clay, and one of the things that's really important, which is why I covered them in plastic, is that you can actually easily take some clay off the top so that you know it's still really sticky at that place. And the same on this one. And that way I do not have to score or scratch and add slip to join these together. If they were a little bit firmer, it's a good idea to score and scratch and add slip. But you really can get away with it as long as your timing is perfect, because you want the stiff enough clay to hold the piece up, as well as actually being sticky enough at the edges that are going to join together so that it will stick. Another thing, you want to make sure you're accurate. So I am going to remeasure, because they will have shrunk a little bit overnight. I want to make sure there's an overhang here that sticks out, and there's an overhang on the inside, so the center is where this piece and this piece are going to join together. So I'm going to measure across to try and judge the outer width of the wall, which is about there. These are those calipers that will give you, you can actually make it so it does the shrinkage, but these are the accurate. So basically, wow, they didn't shrink differently, they shrank the same. So that one is exactly the size that goes on here, and then this little flap will just flip over and join them together, and the flap on the inside, if my arm's long enough, will flap over and join together as well, and all that. So do I do the embarrassing thing in front of you on camera, or do I actually hide? All right, here you go. I have to turn this upside down, and it is softish. So so that is a, I'm not sure if you'll catch this or not, but I have to flip it without it collapsing sideways and all that. So maybe I'll try and do it without hitting the edge. Oh, I'm going to try and time this just right so I don't embarrass myself. Oh, there you go. You just have to do it as quick as you can without any sharp movements, otherwise it will go sideways. All right, so let's see, let's move my iPad cord here. I got another iPad over here. Are we sitting accurate? Now let's take a look. Isn't it good that my shelf is not an inch closer and I'd have been embarrassed? Now, there's the flap, you can see it now. And I put it down as close as I could by eye, that it is actually on there, right in the groove. So that groove is really important. And if you don't have a piece that's on center, don't try this, because it isn't going to work. All right, now I'm going to cut that off in a minute. But the first thing you do is you just don't do it all the way around in one big kind of all the way around. Just try and north, south, east, and west. And then in the middle, what happens if you just keep doing it in one place and work your way around is it can actually move the piece. So I like to do it in the north, south, east, and west, and then finding the middle each time and just flipping a bit up. But this was, remember, let's see how easy it is. I don't have to put much pressure on. So this is basically soft clay. But now, because I firmed it up by leaving it open overnight, only bit that was covered with the two areas that were going to be joined together. You know, the rest was just open. And now they're so close together, I can just go all the way around. There you go. Well, I hope everybody's doing okay. I mean, I know it's tough in some countries. It's kind of out of control. But we guys, you know, Nova Scotia, that Scottish Presbyterian heritage. I think we've all worn masks and sort of done what we were supposed to do. And we still only have one case in Nova Scotia. I think it may have gone, there's one person been in hospital a long time, and that's still active, but there was one new case about less than a week ago. And that person's now recovering as well, I guess. Let's hope they don't make it to the ICU. That's what's so awful about this, is some people get it, nothing, and then other people, they end up in the ICU. All right, so that's joined all the way around, and there's a flap on the inside that I have to join around as well. So what I'm going to do is get my hop. All right, English potters will know this. This is called a hop, and I got it 40 years ago. Where did I get this one? Yeah, no, I think it was Pottery Crafts in London, if they're still existing. So it's basically a piece of rebar or angle iron, whichever, all around. It's evenly grooved, so you can raise this wire any way you want. And it came with a wire with loops on it so that you could do that easily, but this is a guitar string because that wire broke decades ago. But basically, it enables you to cut with one hand, so you don't have to, and obviously up to 16 inches because that's how wide this is. But basically, you know, I can do this, hold the bat with one hand, put it underneath the bat there. Can you see that? Yeah, just about. I angled the camera right, thank goodness. And then you just sort of push, pull, and you lift off your bat. All right, so that's how to join two pieces together. I got a nice clean t-shirt on, and I was gonna throw this, and I probably should have put a dirty t-shirt on because it's gonna get right underneath my arm, I'm sure. All right, so I have to reach down there. Oh, yuck. Yeah, it's right under my arm. So that was a perfect join because I can feel that inside, and it's sitting right on that groove. Now I don't have to do the turn thing. I'm just pressing against my finger on the inside just to, like I did on the outside, just pull the clay up. There's almost nothing to pull up on the inside, just a little tiny flap. So this was perfect when I measured it. There's a little extra thickness at that join now because of the way I had the flaps. But that you can either, on the outside, you'll probably just throw it away, you know, just by throwing a little bit to make it spin. But it is, you gotta like the yuck factor in pottery, don't you? Because this is cold on my upper arm. So I could never have got this height by throwing one ball of clay, because I don't know what this is. It's probably 2.5 feet. You know, in pottery we always, it's like fishing. Oh, I caught a really big fish, and it was a tiny little thing. When we throw on the wheel, we think they're really huge, and then when we finally measure them, it's like, did I do that? Was that really that size? I thought that was huge. It's like the big fish story. Anyway, it's not as bad as when you get it out of the kiln and it's shrunk 6 inches. Ugh. I do a lot of big pieces. Not so many this year because it's a year for little things. I think people are buying mugs and bowls. Alright, so that's joined all the way around. I'm going to pull my wheel out just a touch. I was pretty close to that shelf there. This is a Brent Model C. I bought this in the 1980s, I think it was, yeah, it might have been the late 80s, I suppose. So this thing's been working for 30 years, and it makes a little noise when it's rotating. It's stopped at the moment, obviously. There you go. So I think that when I start turning this, it might be a bit annoying for you. How long are we going here? 12 minutes. All right, so let's get my rib. I'm not going to add any water to this because I don't want it to, see if I can get it going around. Oh, there we go. You know what this reminds me of? I think he's a Korean potter that does videos, Hishin Lin or something. And I always hear that noise, so I think he must have this wheel too. Now this is a base for a bird bath, remember? So it's got to just stay pretty much the shape that it is. I could elaborate on that, I suppose. But all I'm doing at the moment is trying to smudge in that join area. It's hard to know where my finger is on the inside, of course. But I'm feeling for that really thick piece of clay. I can't reach down the bottom. I'm gonna have to let it stiffen up a little bit, I think. It's a good point, just because it's actually, I can't quite reach down there, so I'm gonna have to trim a little bit out of the top. There's my pin. My arm is getting stuck by the width of my arm at the top. I would have liked to have kept that on there, but it needs to stiffen up at this point. There you go. That'll make it so I can get my arm in there a bit better. But it needs to stiffen up because it's already starting to bulge a little bit. So I think I'll call it quits there, and I'll do another video later on after it's stiffened up, because all I have to do basically is get it all smooth. All right. So this is Vaughan in Nova Scotia saying, take care of yourselves and keep wearing a mask and all the rest of that stuff. And I'll talk to you again. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching the video.